in my jet plane. I'm totally going to play this, just so you know.
You should.
Oh, we're live.
We are live. Hey, everybody.
That's great. Says we're all sitting here just
Thank
looking
heavens.
at the camera. So we're using Zoom tonight because we're having trouble with our normal broadcasting app. So we're trying something new. So thank you for your patience. But hello, you have found your way to Janine and Amy's Travel TV Live. And we are so excited you're here. And, you know, we all know it'll be a while before everybody's traveling again. And in the meantime, we are bringing you around the world to fun places for virtual tours so you can keep dreaming about travel. And tonight, we have something really special for you. We are here with Hawaiian destination expert, Lisa Fletcher. Lisa.
Yay. Yay.
And
Aloha.
I promise you, if Hawaii is on your heck yeah list, you are going to want to hang around because
And if it's
Lisa
not on your
knows-
heck yeah list, it should be.
It should be. Lisa
Absolutely.
knows all. So
Absolutely.
before we actually get started, I would like to say hello to my co-host, Amy Kaufman Rileyham. Amy, what's going on?
Not much. How are you? I'm in my jet plane today. That's right. I'm just kind of
Hey.
flying over the Alps right now, as you can see.
So does that make me Goose? Am I Goose?
Always a goose.
I'm always a
Absolutely. You
goose.
always have my back. You always have my back for sure. So absolutely. And hey, Miss Lisa.
Hi,
Always so
sweetheart.
your beautiful, beautiful face. Full disclosure, a couple of things that I have to disclose. So no, I am not Joseph Brower. That is actually my son. And this is his Zoom that he uses for school because, you know, they're learning from home. And so this is this is Joe's screen. And he's always in a jet fighter and he has a whole bunch of other things. So that's why I'm sitting in a jet fighter with Joseph Brower. That's my boy. So, and he's over here making sure that I have no technical difficulties. And so I feel really good. I got some technical support from the 13-year-old. And more truth come out. Lisa Fletcher was our mentor, both Janine and I, was our mentor when we went into travel and opened our individual businesses.
Right?
And Lisa is the reason I'm still in it. And
I talked to you off the ledge a few times.
yes, you have many times. And Lisa's the reason that Janine and I are as good as we are with our travel planning superpowers. So
Aw.
it's
Well,
all
I don't know about that, but I will say it was such a pleasure getting to know you two ladies during your time when you were getting started, and I consider it an honor to have been able to help you. So,
Oh my goodness, no, the honor was ours for sure. So we were one of your first classes, as I remember
you
as
were,
well.
yeah,
So,
pretty early
I
on.
remember. Yeah, so you are the reason we're still here and the reason we're as good as we are. So that's
Aw.
it. So Lisa, there is a question that we ask every one of our guests when they come on. And the very first question I'm going to ask you is when we can travel, and I know you're on sabbatical right now in South Carolina, but once we're able to travel again and the world opens up and, you know, all of our life happens again, what's the first place you're going to go to?
Well, I'm scheduled actually to go to Hawaii on November 29th.
Ooh!
I don't know if it's going to happen because as much as I adore it, I was supposed to go in April for vacation and of course had to cancel that. And at the time we rebooked for the first 2 weeks of December, thinking, oh, this will all be gone by then, right?
Right.
And we're, you know, I'm not 100% sure yet if it's going to work. You know, they're still working out their opening up Hawaii and trying to figure out you know, how they're going to work pre-testing and, you know, what's going to happen. And then if they can get everything open. So I may end up having to reschedule again. I'll probably know in the next couple of days, actually. But if all goes, you know, if it all goes smoothly, that will be my first trip. If not, then I don't know. I mean, where would I like to go? I would like to go to Hawaii. It depends on if anything else comes up work related in the meantime.
Yeah. All right. Well, Hawaii
I was
sounds.
hoping to be in Mexico right now, today.
Yeah, we all should have been in Mexico.
I know, for our annual conference, but that didn't happen either. So I'm done shedding tears about all this, and I'm just
Yeah. Now we have to move
gonna move on. And when I can travel and feel comfortable doing it, I will be racing you to the plane.
on. I'll be the first one in line.
So I guess that comes to our first question. What is going on in Hawaii right now?
Oh, well, I can tell you what I know as of about 2 hours ago, because literally it
You heard
changes.
it here first, people. This is hot off the presses.
It literally changes. I mean, I get updates from my friends and also from some news sources that I subscribe to literally hourly from there. And every time it comes, it's something different. So the way I think it stands right now, and disclaimer, this could change, is that the plan is they're going to open up October 15th, which is just right around the corner, to travelers. And the way to avoid the 14-day quarantine that they've been talking about for so long is to have a 72-hour prior to getting on the plane negative COVID test, right? If you can produce, and it has to be a certain type, it can't be like it has to be a nasal swab. There's all kinds of, rules around it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it has to be a certain kind, but it has to be done within 72 hours of getting on the flight, not arriving in the islands, because it is, a long flight for a lot of people. When you arrive, if you have that, if you've gotten your results back within that 72-hour period, they will check that and your a form that you have to fill out online. And if everything looks good and everything comes through, you are dismissed to go enjoy your vacation. Mm-hmm. If you arrive and you still do not have, you've taken the test, but you haven't gotten the results back, because for some places 72 hours is a little bit dicey to get those results back on the tests, then you will have to quarantine in your hotel or villa or whatever you're renting until you do get that back, get it uploaded to your form, and have them clear you. If you are connecting through Honolulu and going to another island, and I mean connecting, not stopping in Honolulu for a few days, but if your flight goes from the mainland to Honolulu and then your destination is Maui, for example, and so you have to get on an inter-island flight, your test will be valid through that. However, some of the mayors of some of the other, see, in Hawaii, you've got a governor for the whole state, and then you've got mayors for each island. And right now it's like a free-for-all. The governor in Hawaii is very weak. He is not being a leader during this whole time. And so the mayors are kind of taking it into their own hands, which has caused a little bit of a cluster. So like Hawaii Island, the big island, they're saying, we're not ready. We don't want anybody, right? Maui is saying, we'll take people, but we want to retest random people again 72 hours after they get here. Kauai, so there's still that going on. But as of now, you will be able to travel. Now, what's open when you get there? I don't know.
Right. So bottom line, people just need to look for the most up-to-date information.
Yeah. And I recommend going to the Hawaii Visitors Bureau. You can search for the Hawaii Visitor. I think it used to be gohawaii.com. I don't know if it still is. And they've been putting updates on there all the time.
Yeah.
And for you guys, for travel advisors, you can go to agents.gohawaii.com.
Yep.
And get the same information on there. But, so I wouldn't probably book a flight for October 15th. I might recommend just kind of hanging back a little bit and seeing what happens. Whether I make it on November 29th or not is, yet to be seen.
I think you're going to be drinking a lava. What are those called? The red lava drinks?
Oh, I don't know. I know. I'm hoping so, but we'll see.
Mai tais.
Yeah. So you share.
If not, we'll do it again
with us, and I'm going to start to show them. So I think my first question for you is: so I have been to Hawaii. I've been to Maui.
Mhm.
So I've been lucky enough to do that. But when your first time that you want to plan a trip, how do you know where to go? Because every island is very different. And
Very.
activity. So what do you suggest to people? I'm going to throw up one of your nice pictures here.
Oh, lovely. So what I suggest, first of all, is contacting someone like Janine and Amy. Contact a travel advisor, your travel advisor. I know, isn't that gorgeous? That is Maui, by the way, Janine. I'm sure you probably recognize it.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
But you want to, I recommend for sure contacting a travel advisor who is knowledgeable in the islands of Hawaii to help you, because it's not like a lot of people who have never been before imagine that it's just a beach, right? And that one island is another island, kind of like in the Caribbean. I mean, there might be little nuances with some of the Caribbean islands, but in general, you could be on one and not really even know that you're not on the other. In Hawaii, the whole culture on every island is totally different. And so if you use a travel advisor who's familiar, that's your number one thing. So let's just assume that you're talking to me. What I would ask everybody first, what is it you like to do on vacation? Like, a great question is, how are you imagining spending your time?
Oh, that's a good one.
What would a perfect day look like?
Yeah.
And if you've got people who are super active, they love to hike, they're very natural, I like to call it crunchy, they're into their organic foods and their granola and their juices and all that kind of stuff. And you don't like crowds and you just want to, then Kauai is probably going to be, something that you're looking for. If as long as you want everything laid back, you don't mind the restaurants and bars rolling up at 9:00 at night. It's just totally different. However, if you're like city people, right, and you love the nightlife and the action and the a lot of different, I mean, all the islands have good restaurants, but a lot of choices of restaurants and bars and dancing and lots of sights to see and hustle bustle and shopping and designer shopping and all that kind of stuff, then of course you want to go to Oahu. But keep in mind that 1 million people live in the state and 90% of them live on Oahu. So it's a city. It's got skyscrapers, it's got traffic. You'll be laying in your hotel bed and you'll hear sirens. It's not, if what you're imagining is the coconut palm sipping a pina colada or a Mai Tai with nobody else around you, that's going to freak people out.
Right.
Right. So the important thing is finding out what is it they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If they're active, what are the sports? Are they beach people? Are they pool people? Are they, and really find out or talk about what it is that you want to do and let someone like Amy and Janine help you figure out. Because if you get stuck on the wrong island, I'm not saying you won't have fun, but you could have a lot more fun if you got the right ones chosen.
You find the right pace and the right amount of activity and everything, because you could really have a very active vacation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have a very relaxing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Or both. You could do a combination of both.
Yep.
So I know. So this is off the coast of Kauai, what I was talking about a minute ago, the Na Pali Coast, I believe, on Kauai, where it's just literally breathtaking. It looks just like that. And of course, whale season is, and this could also determine when you go, not just what island you go to, but whale season is typically from Thanksgiving until like late March, early April, when the humpback whales come there to breed and to have their babies. And so, I mean, you can literally be out in the water during that time and see the whales, not only blowing, but breaching. And I mean, it's amazing. It's
that
like one of the
doesn't even
most
look real, Lisa.
I know.
It's amazing.
That's the thing. A lot of times in Hawaii, I find myself, even now after, I've gone so many times, I still, every now and then I find myself catching myself when I see views, reminding myself that they're real.
Right. I bet. I bet.
Because there's some places that don't look real.
Yeah, they're just so
It
amazing.
really is one of the most amazing paradises on the planet, and you don't need a passport to go. It's
No,
for East Coasters like
just a negative COVID test.
right, yeah, exactly. And even from Boston now you can fly direct into Honolulu, and then you just catch another flight into
Right.
another island. But absolutely right. And I wanted to let you know, Ken Cohen says hi, Lisa. So does Julie
Ken.
Johnson.
Oh, hi, Julie. I love them.
So you have some nice pictures, some personal pictures you shared that I'd like to know.
I've been taking my family there forever. So this was relatively recent. This was off of Maui. So obviously that's me. And then next to me is Andrea, my daughter Kendall's in the middle, and she's in an Andrea sandwich. So those are two of her best friends that are both named Andrea. And they have Andrea Suspenso, the one on the other side of me, on the other side of Kendall from me, has gone with us multiple times to Hawaii. She always goes with us. And then Andrea Cole, the one that's right next to me, has gone once and is planning on going if we go again this time or next time. And then the one on the end is my friend Jody from high school, who is she's been my best friend, partner in crime since we were 13.
Oh, nice.
And we had just this amazing trip. We were on Maui, and that was on a sunset sail. Just right off the off the beach by our hotel. We got on the catamaran and went out for a sunset sail.
So
and
when is the best time to go? Because I went in November and it actually got cool. It was chilly on Maui. So is there a time of year that is a better time to go? Are there any weather considerations like there are in the Caribbean with Hawaii?
The only winter tends to be a little rainier, although not to the point that it should keep you from going. It does get a little bit rainier, but even there's so many different climate zones on the islands that even if it's raining in one spot, it's sunny in another, and it could be, it's crazy how that all works. So probably if you had to, what is best, right? I would say after spring break until summer break is probably a really good time if you're trying to get good weather, fewer crowds, maybe a little bit lower prices.
Okay.
And then the same thing with the fall, from Labor Day until Thanksgiving, because typically when Thanksgiving kicks in, you've got festive season, which is ridiculous. So people book their festive resorts a year or two in advance. And in normal times, there's a 7 to 10 night minimum, and the pricing goes through the roof.
Oh, wow. So I have to ask, which island is your favorite island?
That's so hard. It's like asking me whether I love my son or my daughter more. It really is. They're so different. It depends on what I want to do. If you're asking me if I was going to move there, where would I move? It would not be here, although this is the most beautiful spot I think I've ever stood in. So let me, I'll tell you where I'd move in a minute. Let me tell you about this photo because.
Oh, it makes my heart hurt.
Wait, Amy, I know how big an empath you are, and I am the same way. And if you had been with me, we would have been the biggest sobbing messes. I was crying anyway, but if you had been with me, at least I would have felt
right, exactly. You and I are kindred spirits for sure.
I know. So this is on the island of Molokai, which is not a very visited island. It's not a very, they don't even encourage a lot of tourism there, right? There's a few condos. There's the small little Molokai Inn, but it's not one of the main tourist areas. If you know anything at all about the history of Hawaii, which if you are planning to ever go, I really, 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 really encourage you to learn about the history, because it means so much more when you're there. If you know, it's not just a beach, it's not just a pool. And so Molokai was, back in the 1800s, when leprosy or Hansen's disease was introduced into Hawaii, and so many people fell ill with leprosy. They, on the Kalaupapa Peninsula of Molokai, they made like a leper colony, right? Where they would ship people off to die, basically. And so there was a very famous Catholic priest, Father Damien, and several other nuns who were trained as nurses, who came and lived in Kalaupapa and took care of the Hawaiian people who were there with leprosy. This was probably 3 years ago when I was there and I took this photo. So this was on the island of Molokai on the Kalaupapa Peninsula. So this is the view that they had.
Wow.
Right? Although I'm sure that they couldn't really appreciate it at the time. But there still is the village there. And when I was there, there were still 3 or 4 of the original people, the original patients, I guess, who had obviously been very young, you know, when they were sent there, or they were born there or whatever, and that are still living there. There's still like a couple of nurses, God bless them, who stay there to help them. And even though leprosy has been cured and there's a cure for it, and these people have been treated and they don't technically have it any longer, they had been there all their lives, and a lot of them have some kind of physical deformity, so that they didn't feel comfortable leaving.
Oh my goodness.
And to tell you that walking in there, and we had a guide who was like channeling all this stuff, and he was a chanter, and I mean, I was just a mess the whole time. But you know, you could literally feel the souls and the pain and but standing there in this amazingly gorgeous setting. I mean, look at that. I mean, that was my phone. I took that with my phone.
Oh my golly, Lise.
So you can't stay on this island. You can visit.
You can. There's nothing down on this peninsula, but on the other side of the island, there are a couple of condos, and there's like the Molokai Inn, but it's not. The people who live on Molokai are still they don't dislike tourists, but they dislike people who are not genuinely interested in learning about their way of life.
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
So they don't mind you coming there. They love to have you there. They're very welcoming, as long as you're coming in there as a guest in their home, or, you know, as a guest on their island,
Right.
and not coming in acting as, you know, as if, I don't even know the way to describe it.
Disrespectful.
Yes,
Disrespectful.
yes.
You have to come in as a person who wants to learn, understand,
Exactly.
and empathize. I totally get that.
Yes.
But not leave a footprint anywhere.
Exactly.
Or, but to respect it. I get it.
And,
That makes sense to me. Absolutely.
And I know a few people that live on Molokai that I've gotten to know over the years who, oh my God, talk about salt of the earth. I mean, they still live they have modern conveniences, but they still are, huge into agriculture, and they want to be as self-reliant as they can be. And, you know, like my friend Julie, that she's the Maui Visitors Bureau representative from Molokai. She lives on Molokai, and when she has to come over to Maui, because Molokai and Lanai are part of Maui County.
Mm-hmm.
So the same mayor of Maui is also the mayor of Lanai and Molokai. So when she would have to come over to Molokai to like the Visitors Bureau office, or for meetings, or for whatever, she hops in her own little boat and comes across the channel.
That's awesome.
You know, and it's like a big, it's like, you can see it obviously, but it's like tough waves and,
Yeah.
You know, she's a tough
That's
broad.
her commute, right? That's her fight. And
I know. I love it. But my goal, I would love to be able to go over there one day and visit Julie and stay in her home with her for like a month.
Right.
Because I think it would be so cool to see what it's like to live.
Right.
As they live. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when you did that, Lisa, and I know we need another picture, but when you did that, did you just go for the day? Was it an easy trip to do? Was that what you did?
It was actually on a, I mean, it can be arranged easily. It
Yeah.
was actually a day trip that was arranged on a Maui master specialist trip through the Visitors Bureau. So it was a group of travel advisors, and they flew us over from Maui on small prop planes that I think each one seated maybe 10 people.
Wow.
Or 12 people. And I got to tell you, the views as you're coming along the coast of
I
Molokai, it's the waterfalls just coming off the cliffs. It's amazing. They flew us over, and there's actually an airstrip on the Kalaupapa Peninsula. Now it's not really an airport, but there's an airstrip, and so we landed there. If you can do that if you arrange it privately, or you can take like Hawaiian Air or one of the inner island flights into the main Molokai airport, which is up where the little town. There's no traffic lights. I mean, when I say main airport, it's like very small, but that's where the inn is, and how you can rent a car if you need to get to your condo or whatever, if you need to go to the grocery store. But then to get down to Kalaupapa, you have to either take a mule down back and forth down the cliff. I mean, guided, there's a guide with you.
Sure.
But that's how most people get down to actually see the Kalaupapa.
Right.
Wow.
What do you say, Janine? You ready to go ride a mule?
Oh, heck yeah. In a second. To be able to see that.
I might take the little puddle jumper and meet you there. How about that?
Yeah. I was glad I didn't have to sit on the mule the whole way down the thing. I was much happier landing on that strip down there.
In too, you'd really get a real flavor for the place.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's
So
awesome.
I did interrupt you. So I do
That's okay.
want to know before we wrap up
About my favorite.
your favorite.
If I were to move there, I would probably choose to move to Maui. For myself, depending on what I was moving there for. I love all of the islands. I mean, I could be happy on any of them, but Oahu is a little crazy for me, at least the main part of Honolulu. I've worked there. I've done a lot there, and it's great. I have friends there.
City.
It's fun to visit. It's a big city.
Big metropolis.
It's like living in Atlanta or Charlotte or Boston or, wherever.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now there are parts of that island of Oahu that are not like that, right? That are calmer. And so that would be an answer if you needed to have access into Honolulu, but you wanted to live out a little bit. But to me, Oahu's a little much. Maui tends to offer a little bit more of everything, right? Yeah. Kauai, as I was saying, is more crunchy, woo-woo-y.
Less developed too. It's less developed.
Yeah, it's definitely less developed. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's probably the most picturesque of all of the islands. Yeah. It's really good. It's great for people who are super active, boogie boarding, walking, hiking, all that kind of stuff, which I'm not. But it's gorgeous. And then the Big Island, there's something about the Big Island that would probably be my second choice that is super mystical. Like you feel more of the history, and like you feel a lot of the culture and the the old gods and goddesses, and you've got the active volcanoes there.
Right.
There's something about it that's you feel like you're connecting more to old Hawaii than anywhere else. So but it's so big, because it's the Big Island. It's got two sides, and one is the dry, sunny Kona coast where all the resorts are. Right. And the other is the wetter Hilo side, which is where they grow all the amazing orchids and the macadamia nuts, and it's so fertile because it rains all the time over there. And that's where the volcanoes are. So I think on the Big Island of Hawaii, there's every microclimate that has ever been identified. You can go up to the top of one of the dormant volcanoes and ski in the winter, and then come down and sit on the beach in the afternoon.
That's amazing. amazing.
So I'd probably, if you're looking for me, I'll probably be on Maui,
Maui.
but you never know.
So sadly,
I'll definitely be looking for you.
but I have there's one last picture, and you identified each picture, and this one is identified as where Hawaii started. So I'm curious, I just want to know what that means.
Oh, with the building in the background. So that is my, so the last time I went to Honolulu, there we go. So that's my face down in there we go. So the building that you see, the tall building that looks, they used to call it the pineapple building, right? Because it kind of looks like a pineapple, the way the window, the way the construction is. So that's just right in Waikiki Beach, right? Back in 1983, when I started working for American Express Hawaii Vacations in the marketing department in Atlanta, and I was sent to Honolulu often to work. And that's when it's not when my love of the island started, but it's when it really ingrained itself in me. That was where my office was.
Oh, so a little walk down memory lane.
So it's now the Bank of Hawaii building, and what used to be a little Woolworths,
Oh my God.
five and dime on the lobby is now like a super ritzy Japanese outlet, like designer outlet store. Like, I don't know. It doesn't look anything the same. But
So in Woolworths, now that's pulling something out of the past, at least.
Yeah.
Woolworths? You remember Woolworths, Janine?
Oh, heck yeah. I do. I do.
how old?
I do remember Woolworths. Oh my gosh. So thank you Lisa. We could talk all night.
Oh my God, all
I
night.
know.
But we really appreciate you coming in, and thank you everyone who stopped by to say hello and to listen to Lisa's. I mean, Lisa, such a wealth of knowledge. We'll have to have you back on because
I'd love to.
believe people will be traveling in the US probably before they go overseas. So
Right.
keep Hawaii on your radar.
I tell you, it's as close to go into a foreign country as you're going to come,
Right.
without,
Got a passport.
to still be one of the states, right?
Yeah.
And once things are up and running again, and they've got their government together, and they got their act, the whole COVID thing is under control, and they get reopened. You got to imagine those islands. I mean, God bless them. 80 to 85% of their economy is tourism.
Yeah.
And so since February or March now, that's been zero, right? They've been completely shut down. And so you can only imagine the economic impact that it has had there. And not only, but I mean, it's also brought up a very good point that people there are now concerned about is, are we overly dependent on tourism? So is this sustainable? Is this good for our islands? Because over the years, they used to do a lot of agriculture. They were like the place where they grew a lot of the pineapples and all that kind of stuff.
Sugar cane, all that.
The last sugar cane mill's gone or at least shut down on Maui. I was there when that happened.
Yep.
And they don't even have that going on so much anymore. So it's basically the US military and tourism that's keeping them alive. And so it's brought up a lot of questions. So I'm hoping that out of this whole, we've got to look at the bright side, right? And the silver linings that are coming out of this. And I'm hoping that the people of Hawaii will find a way to reintroduce tourism, but do it in a way that they're also able to build their own sustainability for themselves.
Absolutely.
Because, there are a lot of people there that don't even want to say they're a state. They don't even like the concept. They still consider themselves being Hawaiian, right?
Right.
And so my wish is,
of being a state.
yeah, exactly. So, my wish is, or my hope is that, they're able to come back strong and come back better and come back in a way that's going to be a bright future, for everyone in the islands, because I would hate to lose them.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely.
Too. I mean, it's such a beautiful place to make sure it's protected.
It is magnificent.
And not only the place, but the people.
People.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The true people.
Yes.
So excellent. That's a great way to end. And
Yep.
thank you again for coming, Lisa. We really appreciate it.
Oh, so always good to see you ladies anytime.
And thanks to all of you for stopping by Janine and Amy's Travel TV Live. We can't wait to get back out into the world. We know brighter days are ahead. So keep dreaming about travel and finding joy close to home. Thanks, everybody. See you next week. Oh, we're going to France next week.
Ooh.
We're going to France next week.
Oui,
and
oui.
who knows what I'll be sitting in then.